the hydrothermal treatment of feed and oilseed. If you look at producing a high quality feed, conditioning or hydrothermal treatment of the feed plays a very important part. There are four main goals. The first one is a hygienic treatment, so you want to avoid any contamination of the feed. Then the second goal is the improvement of the nutritional aspects. You want to try to increase the digestibility of the feed in order to achieve better feed conversion rates. Then also the improvement of the physical parameters is important. For example, you don't want to have a lot of dust in the feed. And finally, what is also very important, especially if you want to cater for high demanding export markets, is the reproducibility of the high quality. In general, there are different principles of hydrothermal treatment. The conventional principle is using, for example, mixing conditioners where you use heat and a long retention time to condition the feed. Also, what we offer is an advanced hydrothermal treatment that is actually making use of also the retention time and the temperature, but it's also using pressure at the same time. And this is giving you some significant advantages that I'm going to explain to you later on. There's also a special hydrothermal treatment that is actually combining the conventional and the advanced treatment. And this is, for example, very successfully used in the treatment of full-fat soya. So looking at the conventional treatment, hydrothermal treatment, this is what I already mentioned to you. Heat and retention time are the key influencing parameters for this treatment. Quite often used are mixing conditioners, and usually the feed is being treated between 2 to 4 minutes at temperatures of 85 degrees. The temperature is achieved by the addition of steam. Basically, if you look at this conventional hydrothermal treatment, in our experience, this treatment has only been applied to achieve some legal requirement. For example, some decades ago in Europe, the requirement was started to treat the feed at 85 degrees for 2 to 4 minutes in order to avoid contamination of the feed. But in our experience, these machines have some significant flaws. For example, due to the fact that you only increase the temperature by adding steam, you also increase the moisture of the feed. So you end up with a high moisture in the feed, and you will have to either dry the feed or the feed cannot be stored for a very long time. The shelf life of the feed will be reduced. So in our experience, this machine can only be used as a preconditioner. This is another form of conventional hydrothermal treatment using long-term conditioners, and these conditioners can condition the feed or hold the feed at 105 degrees roughly for up to 120 minutes. So depending on the product you're processing, you don't always have to go for 120 minutes. You can also go for 45 minutes, for example. And this is, for example, done in the production of full-fat soya. And if you look at the results of full-fat soya treatment with this machine, you achieve excellent results in terms of the reduction of anti-nutritive factors, the trypsin inhibitors. So the treatment test results are very good, but this machine, if you have to hold the material for 45 minutes and you want to go for big capacities, you need a very big machine. So it's not that practical in some applications. So now I want to talk about the advanced hydrothermal treatment. And this process is using, again, retention time and heat, but it's also using pressure at the same time. The Carl Expander, what this machine is basically doing, it builds up pressure inside the machine. So it's a high pressure short time machine, at the same time it's a high temperature short time machine. And the temperature in this case is achieved by the fact that you still have a preconditioner where you go up to 85 degrees, but then to go for higher temperature, this machine is using mechanical energy. And due to the friction and the shearing forces inside, you go up to temperatures of 130 degrees if desired. So this is what I just mentioned to you, the high temperature and the high pressure. Temperatures go up to 130 degrees, pressures goes up to 40 bars. And the advantage of this machine is that you actually add the heat through mechanical energy and not through steam. So you end up with lower moisture contents. And then, due to the fact that the machine is going up to temperatures of 130 degrees, after the feed is leaving the machine, you actually get a flash effect. So some of the moisture inside the feed is steamed off. So again, you don't end up with such a high moisture content. So this machine is giving you excellent results in terms of sanitation. And basically all the bacteria, all the germs are killed in this machine due to the high temperature. But what it also gives you, and this is probably the biggest advantage, is that it actually makes the feed better digestible. It makes the starch content better available to the animal, and you can improve the feed conversion rates by roughly 3 to 4%. no matter what feed you are actually using. So there's significant savings there for the feed buyers, the feed users. And also this machine is very effective if you want to reduce or if you want to erase the anti-nutritive factors in soybeans. And then also another advantage that it gives you is the improved pellet quality. So if you use the expander in combination with the pellet press, you will get an improved pellet quality. So most of the expanders that we are selling are used in compound feed making, so mainly poultry and pig feed. The biggest markets today for expanders are Japan, Korea. Also there's strong demand coming from Brazil, the Netherlands. I want to show you some examples that are actually taken out of practice, showing the benefits or proving the benefits of the expander. So on this slide you see test results that have been carried out with one of our clients, and that is comparing broiler feed that is not treated and then expanded, and also pig feed that has not been treated and then expanded. The expander treatment at 100 degrees gives very good results in terms of sanitation. So the total germ count was reduced drastically. All the coliform bacteria, E. coli, and also molds have been reduced, and also salmonella have been reduced to zero. So this machine is very well suited to give excellent hygienic treatment. This is now results coming from one of our customers in Brazil, company Rica, that is actually an integrator. So they have their own broiler farms. So before they actually used the expander, they had roughly 50% of fines in the pellets. The pellet hardness was only average. The press capacity was sitting at 30 tons per hour. In order to achieve the energy value of the feed, they had to add 4% of fat, and then duration of fattening was sitting at 38 days, and the daily weight gain was sitting at 50 grams. So after they installed the expander, basically all of these figures improved. So pellet fines could be reduced by more than half. The pellet hardness was increased. The press capacity was increased to 36 up to 37 tons per hour. They now were able to actually add less fat content, but still achieved the slightly higher energy content of the feed, and also the duration of fattening could be reduced and the daily weight gain could be increased. And these findings we get basically from all our clients, and always the feed conversion rate can be improved by roughly 3 to 4%. They produce better quality, and also what is important for these customers, before, because of the high amount of pellet fines, they had to screen off the feed, and thus they were just losing a large amount of feed. Now after they are using expander, they don't need to screen the pellets anymore. So this is another example looking at the nutritional benefits of the expander. This was a test carried out with pigs. What was compared was basically coarse meal pellets and expanded, so product coming from the expander. Looking at the feed conversion rate or the feed utilization, you can see that the expanded feed had the best feed conversion rate. And this is again what we see with all expander applications. It simply improves the feed conversion rates. So I mentioned to you before that expanders are mainly used in conventional compound feed production, so poultry and pig feed, but expanders can also be used in more advanced or more special productions. For example, I want to show you the treatment of full-fat soya. So what we did here is we made a comparison between long-term conditioner, so basically the machine that I showed to you before, for 45 minutes, and a combination of a 10-minute conditioner and expander treatment. So basically the full-fat soy, or the soybeans, were crushed with a roller mill, were then pre-conditioned, and on the left-hand side conditioned for 45 minutes at about 105 degrees, and then on the right-hand side the same process, but now the soybeans or the crushed soybeans were conditioned for 10 minutes and then put through the expander. So what is crucial in full-fat soya treatment is that you actually reduce the anti-nutritive factors. The trypsin inhibitor is the main criteria to look at, and if you want to measure the amount or the activity of the trypsin inhibitor, you can also measure the urease activity, because it's easier to measure, but it's affected by temperature in the same way. So what you need to achieve here is that the urease value is smaller 0.2. If you achieve a figure smaller 0.2, this indicates that the trypsin inhibitor has been inactivated sufficiently. At the same time, you don't want to damage your proteins. So the PDI, the protein dispersibility, must not be smaller than 20%. Because if it's smaller than 20%, this indicates that you have damaged too much protein. So looking at the results here, you see that the 45-minute long-term conditioner is giving better results than the 10-minute conditioner plus expander, but at the same time both treatments give sufficient results. Both treatments have sufficiently reduced the trypsin inhibitors and they have not damaged the protein. As a next step, the feed that we had been producing before was fed to broilers. So basically what we need to focus on are just the first columns on the left-hand side. This process has proven very successful in many countries. We have customers in the Philippines, for example, many customers in the European area, in Belgium and Netherlands, for example. And we know that there are also other processes like dry extrusion. But in our experience, these processes are well suited to reduce trypsin inhibitors, but at the same time, they tend to damage the protein. So your protein dispersibility is reduced. I was just looking at the special application, so the combination of hydrothermal treatment, of hydrothermal reactor with expander. And one of the examples that I just explained to you was the treatment of full-fat soya. The same process can be used, for example, for treatment of monocomponents, for example, wheat, corn. And this is done quite successfully in Europe. It's done in the Philippines as well. So it's a very versatile process as well. Actually, the same process with a very little change can be used to stabilize rice bran as well. So we have a client here in Thailand that is actually producing edible oil out of rice bran, and they use the just explained process to stabilize the rice bran before the extraction, so they can store the rice bran for longer time. And then also the same process is used for the production of bifrost protein for dairy cows. For this process we have customers in China, Turkey, South Africa and Europe. Now I want to switch to another topic, which is the production of parboiled rice. Parboiled rice, the rice milling I explained to you before, is done by our sister company Schule. Schule is one of the leading suppliers to the rice industry and has experience for more than 50 years. They have a very efficient and effective process for parboiling of rice. They actually offer high capacity continuous processes as well. The Schule parboiling process can be used for the parboiling of rice. It is used for bulgur treatment. It can be used for paddy and brown rice. It can be used to produce a quick cooking rice, for example. It can be used for pre-cooking of durum wheat for the bulgur. Schule is very much caring about research and development. So they have their own pilot plant and they have their own laboratory equipment to test the parboiling. The advantages of the continuous process offered by Schule is that you only need one cooker for high capacity running plants. Also, what it always gives you is a first in, first out principle, which is quite important to avoid product buildup in the process somewhere. It's a very flexible system, and compared to batch system, it allows you to actually control the process parameters during production. So you don't actually have to wait until the batch is done to see what the outcome is. You can actually control the process during the production of the parboiled rice. The main reasons for parboiling in the first place was to increase the yield and reduce the amount of broken rice. And also what parboiling of rice is giving you is that the vitamins sitting on the outside of the rice kernel are actually moving into the kernel, so you get an enriched rice kernel. So the Schule process is very, very successful to achieve this, and Schule is actually producing export qualities. Thank you.